Greetings, greetings, greetings and salutations, one and all. How you doing, how you doing, how you doing? It's the end of another night shift week right here on kevinstew.com and affiliates. Tonight we do a thing we call Real Talk. It's also known as Marlon's favorite night shift show. I want to say big ups to all those locked in on the night shift with DJ Kevin Stew on TuneIn Radio. Those on PEMGTV.com. Those locked in on Reggae Global Radio. Those on all the affiliates locked in right now. Big ups, big ups, big ups to you. So glad to have you. I couldn't do it without you. You have my word, I wouldn't even try. Happy Hump Day. Yeah, it's all downhill from here. And as we head downhill, you know, we don't go alone. That way we get to have real fun. This is Shelly Sweet Shells. This track called My Neighbor.
Tell them I love me so good. The music hot like a true love. Bring your body, come on out here. Move your body just like you don't care. We jamming it so sweet. Feel the rhythm, feel the heat. Bring your waist from walk to the soca. All our we just jam together. I tell them it's so sweet. Feel the rhythm, feel the heat. Bring your waist from walk to the soca. All our we just jam together. I tell them it's so nice. Change your mind and don't think twice. I tell them it's so nice. He moving the whole crowd, singing soca loud and loud. It's my neighbor, no control. He said he just can't do that. He never hear music, so I tell him that's how we do it. Bring up what's on there, let's ride. It's a love effect in the night. Come join and feel the vibe. I tell him just come over, enjoy yourself, no pressure. We jamming it so sweet. Feel the rhythm, feel the heat. Bring your waist, come walk to the soca. All of we just jam together. I tell him it's so nice. Change your mind and don't think twice. I tell him it's so nice. He moving the whole crowd, singing soca loud and loud. It's my neighbor, no control. The music pumping big time, man, woman taking small wine. Oh yeah, we in the street wet. We jamming, enjoying the fat. Something say look in the corner. It's my neighbor, he come over. He hand in the air, he jamming. On a bumper, it says moving. He moving the whole crowd, singing soca loud and loud. It's my neighbor, no control. What went on, I don't know. He moving the whole crowd, singing soca loud and loud. It's my neighbor, no control. We jamming it so sweet. Feel the rhythm, feel the heat. Bring your waist from walk to the soca. All of we just jam together. I tell them it's so sweet. Feel the rhythm, feel the heat. Bring your waist from walk to the soca. All of we just jam together. Yes, my neighbor.
How many of us even know our neighbors? Let alone to be jamming and
Jamming it so sweet. Feel the rhythm,
enjoying jamming with our neighbors.
walk to the soca. All of we just jam together. We jamming it so sweet. Feel the rhythm, feel the heat. Bring your waist, come walk to the soca. All of we just jam together. I tell them it's so nice. Change your mind and don't think twice. I tell them it's so nice. He moving the whole crowd, singing soca loud and loud. It's my neighbor, no control. Yes, my neighbor.
Want to say big ups to those locked in on Reggae Global Radio in the chat room.
We jamming, we jamming. We jamming, we jamming. Yes, my neighbor. Yes, my neighbor.
Big ups to Mark out on the grill.
We jamming it so sweet. Feel the rhythm, feel the heat.
Yeshka Wagwan.
Soca, all of we just jam together. We jamming it so sweet.
Blessings, Pablo. Hey, Tatiana. Patricia. How y'all doing? I want to say big ups to those who are locked in on Facebook Live. Remember, it's only temporary. Don't get too comfortable, yeah? Get used to the link. What link? It's right there in the description. It's called kevinstew.com. It's the one in blue. Inviting everybody to jump on over and come into the stew pot. What's a stew pot, you might ask? Others call it a chat room. But because we're fancy over here on kevinstew.com, it's a stew pot. Hey, Sarah. I didn't see you hiding there. I want to say thank you to our segment sponsor, Pulse Media Group. When being in a moment, it's priceless. Give them a call. They take care of innovative streaming and recording solutions. Everything you see right here on kevinstew.com, they can take care of for you. They can host your website, create a website for you, provide streaming services on your website, just like you see right here where you're watching me on TV. Yeah. And if you want to take that step further, I want your own internet TV station. They got you. Give them a call, 754-999-6020. Or check them out on pulseemg.com. Pulse Media Group, when being in a moment is priceless. Shelly, sweet shells. What a joy it is when you know your neighbor and you know your business safe and secure. Your personal business and your business. And then you know that you can call up your neighbor and say, hey, yo, we're going chipping down the road. And it's you and your neighbor chipping. Well, it's social distancing time, and you know, you don't really have that luxury anymore. You know, I heard some people talking. Who did I hear talking? Casey and Deja. I heard talking and saying, you know, boy, normally it's all about the chipping and the body paint and the powder. And Casey's like, yo, I'm in my backyard throwing powder on myself. Chipping alone. And I'm thinking, boy, some people only think them chipping is them knee because they go out in the backyard and they buck their toe and that's it. Hey, Kojo, how you doing, bro? Blessings to you, man. So, tonight, we're continuing along the vein of what was started on Monday with the group from MSABC, Making Strides Against Breast Cancer, and the American Cancer Society, who they were my guests. If you missed it, don't worry, you can just go to kevinstew.com, scroll down to the bottom of the page. The video archive is there. You can just scroll through there, and you can catch that. But they got this week kicked off, and it turned out to be quite the focus on cancer awareness. Now, I don't specifically say I look at cancer and raise cancer awareness in October, I look at cancer all year round because when October ends, cancer continues. So for me, it's an all year round thing. Both my parents transitioned with the aid of cancer. My mother, after 15 years of multiple myeloma, more than just about more than what twice as long as the average person at the time would live with that type of cancer. And 12 years ago on Valentine's Day, she transitioned. The greatest display of love that I had ever seen in my entire life. And some people look at Valentine's Day one way, I look at it another. I look at it as the day my mother was called home. And not called home out of hatred, but called home in love. That's how I see it. And so, one of the things that I had to do was cope with the transition that my mother made at that time. My father, he had since being diagnosed with prostate cancer, he did about 5 years, and that was it. Boom, bang, bing. And that was 4 years ago that he transitioned. So, and those are not the only people I know, but those two people combined they're the reason I am here today. Literally. So, much respect, Kujo, much respect. So, as we're looking at dealing with cancer, I found it important to take a look at coping with cancer. And do understand it's not just the individuals who are diagnosed that have to cope. And coping is just one of those things that take various shapes, sizes, forms, you name it. There's no one size fits all to anything, let alone coping with cancer. So the numbers to be interactive, numbers to call, numbers to text, 773-789-STEW, 773-789-7839. It gets you in touch. You can call, you can text, you can WhatsApp. I do invite you to come on and interact. Be interactive. Don't get too comfortable on Facebook Live, but do get comfortable with kevinstew.com. Those of you who are locked in on Reggae Global Radio, well, you're in a good spot too. So I'll check in over there on occasions also, but you can use up the number also, 773-789-STEW, 773-789-7839. You can call, you can text, you can WhatsApp. For those of you overseas and want to get in touch, you can Skype with me on kevin.stew. It's really easy. If you want to use my email, you can do that too. It's djkevinstew@gmail.com. If you want to write me through my website, fine. Use the contact me at the bottom of the page on the website, kevinstew.com. So you have no excuse, other than you don't want to be interactive with me that way, and that's fine. I'm cool with that. So, for those of you who are not strangers to the night shift, would know that I am big on mental health. And mental health encompasses an individual's emotional, psychological, and social well-being. And these aspects of a person's well being can be affected after a cancer diagnosis. Now, it can also be affected during treatment, and it can be affected while in remission. It is important to remember that your healthcare team is there to treat the whole person, including your mental health concerns. Feelings like stress, anxiety, and fatigue are common after a cancer diagnosis. Discussing these feelings with your healthcare team when they arise can strengthen your emotional well being and provide an enormous sense of relief. Now, what mental health concerns typically come up after a cancer diagnosis? I know I would think one of the top things would be, why, how long am I going to live? So some of the mental health concerns would actually include sadness. That is common after a cancer diagnosis because it is important to pay attention to intense bouts of sadness, as now it can move from just being sad to being depressed. And of course, that doesn't help at all. Hey, Oral, welcome to the broadcast, bro. Then you have anxiety or worry. And this is also a natural emotional experience, but it can also intensify after a cancer diagnosis. Chronic anxiety can lead to depression or extreme tiredness over time. Fear is one of the many complex emotions that can arise after a cancer diagnosis. Fear of recurrence, um, fear of death, fear of not having anyone to take care of your family members if you are the primary caregiver. You know, there are a lot of things that encompass that fear, that feeling of fear. Then you have the possibility of post traumatic stress because of the life changing event that a cancer diagnosis is. Seeing a loved one go through a serious illness can also trigger personal trauma. So, again, it is not just the individual who is diagnosed with cancer that is that there needs to be a concern for. But there needs to be a concern for the individual who is close to that person. Now, being the individual who is diagnosed with cancer, you'd probably wonder, for those who have never been told, hey, listen, there's this tumor. We believe it may be cancerous. We need to run more tests. Or there's this mystery lump, and before we can say anything, we need to run tests. All those thoughts, all those feelings start taking their position, basically. They start showing up and saying, okay, here I am. You might have forgotten that you had been fearful of anything. This is what fear feel like again. And boom, you're there. Hey Nikki, how you doing? Thank you very much. Thank you for sharing. Now, take note of shifts in your mood. Take notes of changes in your appetite. These things will make it difficult, or can make it difficult, to accomplish daily tasks. Listen to loved ones if they notice changes in your mood. Sometimes they see changes that you might not recognize yourself. And speak to your healthcare team if these changes occur. Now, as I present these things, I don't want you to just, and I can't emphasize this enough, I don't want you to just look at this as the individual who is diagnosed. Because it's like, for those who have had a diagnosis, I guess you can share this experience a whole lot more, or paint the picture of this experience a whole lot more. And I do invite you to share if you so feel inclined. 773-789-7839. The family members, the same way you have phantom symptoms in a pregnancy, I truly believe there are individuals who experience some of the very same things that the person diagnosed experience. I believe so. But even if they don't physically, the experience it, the empathy that they have for the individual going through what they're going through at the time, that alone can be debilitating for some. Because not everybody has the coping mechanisms to get past something as potentially devastating as cancer. Now, and I say potentially because having been diagnosed with cancer, it's not necessarily saying, well, you're about to die. No. It is saying, well, these cells have been super active and now there's a tumor, and we're going to have to take steps to handle this. There have been many individuals who have been diagnosed with cancer, fought it, and won, only to die several years later of pneumonia. Nothing related to cancer. And guess what? That is fine. Because it is important to remember that death is inevitable. How you go, that nobody knows. And the ones that do, I'm not too sure they're keen on telling. So it's important to speak with your healthcare team, whether you are the one diagnosed or you're related to those diagnosed, because you need help too. Cognitive behavioral therapy is a type of therapy that can help you to manage feelings. They help to challenge some of your negative thoughts and replace them with more helpful ones. And to learn more about that, there are places that the internet is filled with information on cognitive behavioral therapy. Ways to recognize it, to change negative thought patterns, and more specifically, how to do so when you have cancer. There are some simple breathing techniques, believe it or not, that you can do. And there's a 4-step breathing exercise. I guess this is the simplest of them all. You take a deep breath from your diaphragm. And if you don't know how to breathe from your diaphragm, a quick way to feel or to experience what that is like is to lay flat on your back. Put your fingertips on your stomach and just put your hands on your stomach and let your fingertips touch. Those of you who are watching, it looks something like this, right? So with your hands on your tummy, you can let your fingertips touch just like this. When you take a deep breath, your diaphragm will naturally expand when you're lying on your back. So your fingertips should come apart. And then when you exhale, they should come back and touch. Now you can memorize that feeling and then start to do it in an upright position. See, these are the things that you learn when you are a wind instrument player. As I was taught to play brass at what? I started learning music at age 10, so between 10 and 11, I started playing brass, along with singing in church. Don't ask me to sing now. There's a reason why I sang in a group, and I was one of those soloists. Yeah, I sang so low you could barely hear me. So, but you learn these techniques. So breathing from your diaphragm, you can lay flat on your back. Let your fingertips touch on your stomach. Take a deep breath. Your fingertips should come apart. And then you exhale, they touch again. They say take a deep breath from your diaphragm. Hold the breath for several seconds. Do it for however long is most comfortable for you. And then exhale slowly. And you want to repeat steps 1 and 2, which is the breathe, take a deep breath in, hold it, and exhale slowly. Do it 1 or 2 more times. And then afterwards, relax for a moment. Let yourself feel the experience of being calm. Now, of course, this doesn't only apply to those who are experiencing the news of having cancer or having a loved one receive that news. It can work with anyone. You know, it's not cancer breathing techniques, it's cognitive behavioral therapies, breathing exercise. And it's just one of those things that can help to relax you. Of course, there are support helplines that are available. Cancer.org is an amazing resource. I believe that is like the resource of resources when it comes to cancer support. You know, and if my memory serves me correctly, the 800 number, the 1-800-24/7 helpline is 1-800-227-2345. I could be wrong, but it's something relating to that. I don't have it. It just came to me about the helpline as we were talking. Why I didn't have it from before? Who knows? I really can't tell you. But cancer.org. Definitely want to check them out, because again, a wealth of resource. Use them up, call them up, check out the American Cancer Society. Cancercare.org has information. There are a bunch of resources available online. You are definitely not alone when dealing with cancer. Whether you're the one diagnosed or you're related to the person diagnosed. And being related doesn't necessarily mean being a blood relative. Like the song said when we got started, my neighbor. You know, because we have relations, we're related. So don't get it twisted. It's as simple as that. So it could be your best friend, it could be your sibling, it could be your cousin, it could be your in-laws, it could even be your enemy. You're talking about a human life. And as long as your empathy receptors are are firing, you should be able to feel a little something for that individual. You may need to get some help. Don't be afraid. because the individual with the news, they definitely are afraid. And they definitely need the help. We're going to take a quick little break. When we come back, it's all going to be on kevinstew.com and Reggae Global Radio, PEMGTV.com. So it is pretty much sayonara to Facebook Live. Use up the link in the description. Come on over. Let's continue our communication. Yeah? Cool. We'll be right back.
Pulsey Media Group, innovative streaming and recording, has done it again. A new way to get your business in full view of your neighborhood consumer through AdShare TV. It's available in your neighborhood today. It's easy. Just call us 754-999-6020. Become a host today and place a TV monitor in a strategic location so it's easy to see. Get a 1-minute video ad or longer that plays anywhere in our network. Can't be a host? No problem. For a few dollars, we'll run your 30-second video ad. A host can run announcement specials like buy one get one free or discount ads. Let's turn your flyers into a 30-second video with music or a voiceover, or let us create and run your video ad with a spokesperson. Take advantage of our early enrollment discount. Join us today. Your ad will be seen at least 30 times per day in your AdShare TV neighborhood. It's easy. Just call us 754-999-6020. AdShare TV, part of Pulsey Media Group.
Imagine having our own Caribbean Center.
Imagine a museum highlighting our history and the contributions of Caribbean people to the world.
Imagine being able to visit and learn about the islands we call home.
In a place where our kids can see and feel their cultural heritage. You can make this vision come to life.
Help us create this first-of-its-kind space
that all Caribbean people can be proud of. Your contribution to Island Space Caribbean Museum will help this dream come true.
Visit islandspacefl.org/GoFundMe.
Visit islandspacefl.org/GoFundMe.
Visit islandspacefl.org/GoFundMe and donate today.
It takes an entire village to raise a child. Hello, I'm Paul Campbell, here to talk about Palace. Peace and Love Academic Scholarship. This nonprofit group supports students facing serious obstacles from entering or continuing their studies, not because the grades are failing, but due to the lack of financial support.
Over the past 8 years, Palace has awarded 600 scholarships valued at approximately 50.3 million Jamaican dollars, or 415,000 US dollars.
Together, we must build a better future for our children. Please visit www.palace1.org and make your donation to brighten the future of a deserving child. Palace, preserving young minds for posterity.
Hi, this is Tony Culture, inviting you to come check me out on Reggae Global Radio, Mondays, 6 p.m. until 7 p.m. It's Tony Culture time on Reggae Global Radio. Come and check me out. It's a bunch of vibes, a whole heap of vibes, musical rise, tell it say. Come check it out, reggaeglobalradio.com. Mondays, 6 p.m. until 7 p.m.
Tony Culture time, Shabbat.
Hey yo, this is Caraman to let you know that right about now you are logged on to DJ Kevin Stew on the night shift. Don't move.
track is called Change. Done by Incognito. I want to say thank you to our segment sponsor, Althea and her Healing Heavenly Hands. Althea SU is a licensed massage therapist that comes to you, operating out of Broad County, North Miami-Dade and South Palm Beach counties. She brings her table, she brings her oils, she brings her Healing Heavenly Hands, and she comes COVID-free. She'd like to leave that way. So if you know you're good to go, you can give her a call, 954-655-9000, or send her an email, thealater@att.net. That's THEALATER @att.net. From some people that know what is in store when it comes to experiencing change relating to cancer. This is Incognito. So as I was doing some research to find things relating to coping with cancer, I came across this article courtesy of Stanford Medical University. It was a piece put together by Andrew Neer, Ernest Rosenbaum, and Isadora Rosenbaum. And it looks at coping with cancer, simply. Just that, coping with cancer. Once again, the numbers to call, numbers to text, 773-789-STEW, 773-789-7839. You can call, you can text, you can WhatsApp. Of course, the Stew Pot is available on kevinstew.com. Jump on in, the water is always fine. There is also interaction by way of Reggae Global Radio's chat room. So you have multiple ways to get in touch, to share your views. It is a judgment-free zone over here on kevinstew.com. So, come on in, share your views, give your responses, call, text. The kevinstew.com is where we come to have acceptance through enlightenment. So, these three individuals at Stanford Medical. One is a PhD, one is an MD, and one is an MA. They came together to look at or to present some steps toward emotional well-being. And they start off by saying what coping refers to. What coping is, and it refers to the attitudes and behaviors that you use to maintain your emotional well-being and to adjust to the stresses caused by cancer. Different people cope in different ways, and some ways of coping are more successful in promoting a person's emotional well-being and psychological adjustment than others. At this point in time, at this present moment, you might be coping with treatments and their side effects. You may also maybe coping with a recurrence of your cancer or with pain and disability. Your life has been disrupted and altered by your illness, and you are dealing with the effects on your loved ones of all that is happening with you. When someone had cancer 50 years ago, there was a little different discussion of how he or she was coping. The person just dealt with it. In the last 25 years, though, the notion that patients are coping with their illness in better or worse ways, has received an enormous amount of attention by healthcare professionals. Even the federal government got involved when, in 1980, the National Cancer Institute published Coping with Cancer. So, this is not something new. I didn't invent this. So, understand, people have been trying to cope with cancer since, I guess, the word cancer was coined. In the 1990s, more than 2,500 articles on different aspects of coping with cancer appeared in medical and mental health journals. Tonight, we are looking at a summary of the vast amount of research on coping with cancer by highlighting 10 coping strategies that is believed may be quite helpful. And if we have time, we'll look at some experiences that some patients have had and how they have dealt with their situation. So the first of these 10 coping strategies that we're going to be looking at is facing the reality of your illness. Because patients respond in different ways to their diagnoses. The initial medical workup, subsequent test results, and implications of all that is happening to them. Many patients respond by confronting the full realities of their illness. They ask pointed and brave questions about the seriousness of their condition and the pros and cons of various treatment options. They read up on these matters on their own. They react as if they are strongly motivated to know what they are facing. This way of coping has been found to promote their psychological adjustment. Other patients react as if the realities confronting them are too much to deal with, and they retreat into states of denial. It sometimes seems that patients in denial are saying, "I cannot cope with all this." Yet denial is just another way of coping. It protects people from being overwhelmed. But it can also prevent patients from coming to terms with their illness and getting on with other constructive ways of coping. Denial is therefore associated with a poorer psychological adjustment. But denial is often a positive coping strategy because it enables the patient to gradually face the reality of his or her illness, and to do so in a piecemeal manner, without feeling overwhelmed. Patients sometimes seldom remain in denial. It fades away over time. And it as well as it should fade away over time for the good of overall adjustment. Now, you might ask yourself how much you really know about your cancer and your ideal case or your loved one's cancer. Are there any relevant questions that you have not asked? Have you avoided learning more about the illness by not reading about it? You might want to become more proactive in seeking information. And this evidence indicates that this will help. Information is one of those things that I believe you cannot get too much of. But there's only so much of it that you can actually tolerate. So take in as much as you can tolerate at that time. But you cannot get enough. The second of these coping mechanisms, coping strategies that we're going to look at tonight is maintaining hope and optimism. After facing the reality of your illness, you should try to maintain as much hope and optimism as possible. Now, not surprisingly, patients who are hopeful and optimistic about the future course of events show a better adjustment to their illness than patients who are pessimistic. You know, saying that the glass is half full creates a different type of emotion than saying that it is half empty. But it's the same glass with the same amount, the same volume of whatever is in it. Now, some studies have shown that optimism is associated with better medical outcomes. Of course, it would be hard to only feel optimistic, optimistic, because fear is expected and is normal. But in most cases, there's a solid and realistic basis for a certain degree of hope and optimism. You should try to focus on that, and certainly not lose sight of it when your legitimate fears show up. And later on, there's in the list you will come across some information about balance, and you'll see how that becomes important when looking at balance. Now, most patients tell themselves to be positive, but for many, it is easier said than done. There are several reasons for this, and some of them may apply to if you are experiencing cancer right now, or you know someone who's going through it. Some of these may apply to you. Optimism usually involves a feeling of luckiness. However, you were unlucky enough to get cancer, and you may feel that you are an unlucky person. So you may feel that your luck has run out, but you may not expect to enjoy the good fortune of a long remission or a cure. You might feel just the opposite, that good luck is unlikely for you. Optimism can seem presumptuous. Well, when you think about it, other patients with your diagnosis may not have done so well. Well, the other question is, do you expect to recover? Your optimism at this point can make you feel that you are not worrying enough about your cancer, that you're not giving cancer its due, that you're acting too boldly or too confidently in the face of it, and that you are asking for trouble, as if the cancer might come back and teach you a lesson. And I think that is how we tend to humanize some of the things that ail us from time to time. If your prognosis is more favorable than other patients with the same type of cancer, you may feel that it is not right to enjoy this good fortune or to take advantage of it. That is, by being optimistic and going on with your life in a positive and constructive manner. You might feel that you shouldn't be doing that. And while these obstacles can be daunting, you should try to feel as hopeful and as optimistic as the medical realities of your case allow. Because again, in the same way, not everybody's treatment is the same, not everybody's prognosis is the same. So don't feel that you're being positive, you're being optimistic about your outcomes because someone else just got the same prognosis and they're told, listen, get your affairs in order because you have just about 2 weeks to live, when you are told, hey, we can kick this, but you have the same type of cancer. One one is diagnosed earlier than the other. 773-789 gets you in touch. 773-789-7839. Call me, text me, talk to me. The next coping mechanism would be proportion and balance. Your emotional response should not just be one of optimism and hope, like we had mentioned before. It is also appropriate and helpful for you to be upset and worried, at least to a certain degree. In most cases, the medical situation provides a basis for hope and a basis for worry. The statistics indicate a certain chance of survival, but also a certain chance of dying of cancer. And of course, the chance of survival and the risk of dying vary greatly from case to case. No one size fits all. Ideally, your emotional response would take both aspects into account. You would experience a degree of hope that was proportional to the positive survival chances that applied to you, but you will also experience a degree of worry that was proportional to the mortality rate in similar cases. Your feelings should be in the balance. Your feelings of worry or upset should be reduced in intensity, tempered by feelings of hope and optimism. And alternatively, the nature and intensity of your positive emotions should be tempered by or take into consideration the possibility of death. So you want to find that middle ground, get that balance. So you don't go too far in one way or another. If you are ignoring this possibility, then your optimism involves a denial or a minimization of the threat. And in the long run, this will not help. It is better to acknowledge the threat of dying, the threat that exists, and to work through the negative emotions that stem from it. Basically, it is best if your positive and negative emotions are balanced, so that you would neither be overreacting nor underreacting to the medical realities that is facing you. A number of studies have found that patients who remain this kind of mixed emotional response, well proportioned to the realities of their illness, enjoy a better psychological adjustment than patients who feel too pessimistic or too optimistic. Patients who have said that they have mixed feelings appear to be more well adjusted. They feel that they are coping well with the uncertainty inherent in their medical condition, neither dwelling on nor denying their legitimate fears, and yet keeping their sights set on getting better. Now, all this is still easier said than done. And those who have experienced it would be in a better place to say, you know what? Yeah, this has been my experience. In the stew pot, there's a comment here. It's about perspective. Some may look at the diagnosis as a death sentence, while others may think of it as a blessing in disguise. A moment to right some wrongs in their lives, I guess. To make some changes in their lives, some positive changes, some health changes, some lifestyle changes. Whatever it is that they were looking at to do before, now they have to do it, and they look at it for the better. So, in that respect, they can see it as a blessing in disguise. There are those who are faced to change their lifestyles with a cancer diagnosis. They have to eat healthier. They become more active. They reduce stress and getting more rest. Now, that's a good question. Is that a curse or a blessing? I know when my mother was diagnosed, back then, juicing wasn't even a thing yet. And my mother had started juicing. And she would do fruits and vegetables. We were blessed enough to have vegetables that when we get it, it still has a dirt on it. Yeah, that fresh out the ground kind of vegetables. Now, of course, this is in Jamaica, and getting produce like that is a little bit different than here in the US, when the farming, well, back then, the farming in Jamaica was a little bit more real. They have gotten a taste of this commercial type farming that they do in the US and some other parts of the world, but we got good produce, and my mother would juice, and I could see the effects of juicing. Now, I'm not telling everybody that they should go and juice because they were diagnosed with cancer. No, that may not work for you. You may very well need a whole lot more of the prescribed drugs. But one of the things that I learned from the information that we looked at last night in our health presentation is that a lot of the cancer medication is either derived from or is created to mimic naturally forming or naturally occurring treatments. So you have some things that exist naturally, your fruits and vegetables that have some properties that are cancer fighting. The drugs that you're being prescribed either has some extracts from those fruits and vegetables, those active extracts, or they are synthesized to mimic those extracts. So, that's something to consider. But for my mother, I know that juicing worked. My father, he didn't get into it. I guess that could explain the difference in length of time alive from diagnosis. But then again, you're talking about two different types of cancer. So, and some other underlying conditions. So those are other things to take into consideration also. Would she have started juicing otherwise? Well, I have no clue, to be honest. We do each need to research what is the best course of healing for each individual, for each of us. Because, again, thank you, 644, there's no one size fits all. So, we're going to take a quick little break. When we come back, we're going to continue going through this list of coping mechanisms, looking at expressing your emotions. And this one can be a little bit offsetting because there are mindsets and norms, quote unquote norms, that exist in our community, in our society. And when it comes to expressing certain things, whether you're male or female, there are certain expectations. Yeah? So we're going to be looking at some of those when we come back from the break. Again, call a friend, tell a friend. It's the Night Shift with DJ Kevin Stew. It's real talk. And we're looking at coping with cancer. We'll be right back. Matthew 28:19 says, "Go ye therefore and teach all nations." With this in mind, and encouragement received during a South Florida media conference, The Church Links was birthed. The Church Links is an interdenominational worship service portal for churches, providing the tools to spread the word through technology in a cost-effective way. The Church Links, www.dahchurchlinx.com, your links to worship and praise.
A social distancing tip.
While the CDC urges you to avoid close contact, like hugging or shaking hands, there are other non-physical ways to say hello. Wave, wink, use sign language, salute, smile, give the peace sign, throw up an air high five, do jazz hands. Remember, stay a minimum of 6 feet or 2 arms length away from others, and stay home if you can. For more info, visit coronavirus.gov.
Let's all do our part, because we're all #AloneTogether. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
When being in the moment is priceless, consider the ability to share that moment. If you can video it, you can broadcast it. And Pulse E-Media Group has the tools you need. Weddings, birthdays, funerals, graduations, church services, parties, seminars, you name it. Pulse E-Media Group can provide you with a secure medium controlled by you to broadcast your event. Contact us at www.pulsemediagroup.com for more information. Pulse E-Media Group, when being in the moment is priceless. Greetings and salutations, one and all. You're invited to tune in to the Night Shift with DJ Kevin Stew. It airs on Mondays with Community and Finance, Tuesdays with Healthy Love, and Wednesdays with Real Talk from 10 p.m. to midnight Eastern Time. Come spend some time interacting in the stew pot where we keep things bubbling and wind down in musical therapy. The Night Shift with DJ Kevin Stew is on kevinstew.com, where you're encouraged to have acceptance through enlightenment.
It's Christina representing for DJ Kevin. You see me, I say, I don't know the boss. You see me, I say, DJ Kevin Stew and the Night Shift Radio Show. Yo, it at the thing, turn up the thing loud. Wow, DJ Kevin Stew at the heart of a champion. Never underestimate, just choose him. The silver line behind the dark clouds. DJ Kevin Stew believe him, and that's no doubt. Salute the Night Shift Radio Show, Christina. It's hard to talk.
Turn on! Made that beat, baby. Tony did it. Yeah! It's a black boy Joey, y'all. Everywhere I go, I see a cancer survivor. Everywhere I go, I see a cancer survivor. Run and tell your folks that you're a cancer survivor.
He goes by the name the Black Bon Jovi.
Don't give up. You gotta survive.
It's called Cancer Survivor.
Everywhere I go, I see a cancer survivor.
Want to say thanks to our segment sponsor, Reggae Global Entertainment.
I see a cancer survivor.
They can act as your booking agents, take care of your tour management,
Run and tell your folks,
handle your copyrights, your publishing, your trademarks,
cancer survivor.
your legal service referrals, music production, marketing and promotion, and so much more.
A cancer survivor.
Go ahead and give them a link. Give them a call, 954-998-8034.
Please, I beg you all to make them, not make them, but motivate them to hold on.
Connect with them on reggaeglobalentertainment.com.
They can do it.
Tell them you heard about them on the night shift to DJ Kevin Stew, yeah?
He'll make a way. Yeah. Trust in God. He'll make a way. Yeah. Just hold on. Hold on. Woo. Come on. Yeah. Everywhere I go, I see a cancer survivor. Everywhere I go, I see a cancer survivor.
The track is called Cancer Survivor.
And tell your folks.
Artist goes by the name the Black Bon Jovi.
Let the people know that you're a cancer survivor.
Yeah. Listen. If you're a cancer survivor, if you're one who survived cancer with a loved one, you're still a cancer survivor in my books. And there are people out there that need your support. They need to hear, not want, they need to hear the story of what you went through, what it was that helped you to cope. It might not work for them, but it can very well and give them hope that there are things that can help. Which now leads me to the next thing on the list of coping mechanisms, coping with cancer, expressing your emotions. People differ in different ways, and they express and communicate how they feel in different ways also. And in our society, women are generally better at expressing their feelings than men. I'll tell you this, pause. It is only recently that I have learned how to express some of my feelings. And I still struggle with expressing myself sometimes. Well, most of the time. But now, at least I've done it a few times and I know what that feels like. And I have been getting better at it over time. That and the fact that my fuse seem to be getting shorter. I don't know. It must be age or something, but I tell you, tolerance for certain things it's almost non-existent. But men, I was telling someone this either today or yesterday. Yesterday, I had this discussion with someone. Really and truly, men and women don't have that much in that are different. There are not that many differences between us. Yeah, we have some physical differences. But when it gets into the psyche, when you get right down to it, with women being better at expressing themselves, I don't know if it's a hormone thing or it's a society thing. If men could express themselves half as well as women on a whole or on average, then I believe that would be better communicators. I really do. But then again, that's just my opinion. You don't have to go with it. But as long as you're listening to this broadcast, you're going to hear it. It just kind of comes with the territory. But we digress. We're looking at expressing emotions as it relates to coping with cancer. Take stock of how well you express what you're feeling about your illness. Many studies have shown that patients who express their emotions and concerns enjoy a better psychological adjustment than people who tend to suppress their feelings or keep quiet about them. Emotional expression is usually helpful because it gives you an outlet for your feelings, a means of working through them, and an opportunity to obtain better emotional support. It can be an enormous help to just know that your feelings are understood by others and seen as valid. That validation right there makes a huge difference. But this requires open communication on your part. If you tend to keep your feelings to yourself, it is probably because you have learned to do so. Yeah, pretty much. Your earlier experience may have taught you that sharing your feelings led to negative consequences. Perhaps your emotions were not validated by others, or you were criticized for expressing them. Children are to be seen but not heard. Big boys don't cry. Things like that. Real men don't cry. They suck it up and they move on. You know, you may have felt that your emotional needs were an imposition on others. Or that your role was to take care of the feelings and needs of others rather than expressing your own. It is not uncommon for cancer patients to hide their true feelings as a way of protecting their loved ones. Some people do not express their emotions because they are not very adept at paying attention to what they're feeling. They sometimes seldom stop and check in with themselves and try to identify the feelings and concerns that are weighing upon them. Children need permission and encouragement to develop this skill, and then practice and positive reinforcement. In this process, we learn that our emotions are important and valid and thus worthy of attention and expression. Some people just do not have much experience with this essential ability and even regard it as pointless and self-indulgent. If you find yourself admitting, yes, this applies to me, it's okay. You are encouraged to consider psychological counseling, which could be a great deal of help. And it is not to say that you're crazy. It is just to say you need help with recognizing the tools that can help you to express yourself to go when you're experiencing certain things. Cancer patients are typically consistently encouraged to give a positive attitude. This can make you feel that there is something wrong or dangerous about your negative emotions, your fear, your sorrow, your anger. Research suggests just the opposite, though. Experiencing and expressing such emotions is psychologically and immunologically healthy. And, well, I guess we don't really look at immunologic a whole lot. It's one of those things that we very seldom hear about, let alone to address. timing is important. The period after your diagnosis, when you're learning about your illness and undergoing the initial workup and treatments, may not be the right time for you to be taking stock of all your emotions. At that point, you have a pretty full plate for real. It will benefit you most to express your emotions with the right people when their support is available to you. You can't really be expressing yourselves with just about anybody. And it's not just for cancer that applies. It applies to just about anything. And you ever notice that people who are being treated for cancer, a lot of people who are diagnosed with cancer, somehow find reason to believe that it should be a secret. I don't know if it is because they don't want others to worry, or they don't want others to treat them differently. But for the most part, the majority of individuals that I have come across that have cancer don't really say it. In fact, I've heard of people who have died from cancer, and it is when they're on their deathbed that loved ones know that they have cancer. It sounds crazy, right? But it's true. And they would often say, you know what, I don't want to be a burden. Or that is not how I want people to see me. Or I didn't grow up looking for handouts or help from people. I learned how to do it all myself, and that is what I'm doing. How often have you heard those things, those statements, or seen anyone take that kind of position when they're ill? Comment here in the stew pot. I remember when my sister was diagnosed with breast cancer 4 years ago. I was devastated. My first thought was I was going to lose her to this horrific disease. She helped me realize that she was not going to succumb to cancer. At that point, I started to be there for her in the way she needed me. I allowed myself to listen to her wants and needs, as well as when she only needed me to just listen. That right there is something that takes work. Because as the individual who is a sibling, a loved one of the individual diagnosed with cancer, you have the job of getting over yourself. Again, nobody gives you a handbook on how to be there for someone. Whether it is someone who has lost a loved one, someone who is diagnosed with an ailment like cancer, whatever it is, there isn't a handbook that says, okay, at this point, this person should be experiencing this, and you as the loved one, the friend, the partner, whomever, this is what you should do. No, there's no manual for that. You can't look it up online. You can't jump on your phone and go, okay, AI on my phone, what is the best way to cope with my loved one doing? That AI won't know what to tell you. You're welcome to try it and tell me what you get. I'd love to hear the stories. You know, people go around asking their AIs on their devices various questions just to, I guess, irritate them. But understand, again, it's an artificial intelligence. You are quicker to be irritated than this artificial intelligence. It is designed to respond to questions as you ask them, not to have an emotional response. So when it comes to individuals who expect to have a certain type of emotional response or to be given the tools to respond a certain way. No. That's not. Nobody told you how to interact with that individual prior to their prognosis, their diagnosis. Nobody told you how to interact with them before that. Nobody told you how to run jokes with them. Nobody told you how to do whatever. You just did what works for you. And in this case, it just requires a little bit more sensitivity, but it's the same thing. You're going to be doing what works for you. I lost 2 family members to cancer who failed to disclose their condition until they were in their final stages. See, this is what I'm talking about. By the way, this was a mother and daughter. The mother did not share with her daughters that she had ovarian cancer. She lost her daughter to breast cancer 6 months before she passed away. Now, one could say that they were being self-centered. Or if you want to go ahead and classify it as that, selfish. They were self-absorbed. Now, although it is well within their right to do so, how beneficial was it? Did they rob family members, loved ones, of precious time that they could have made an extra effort to have spent with them? Now, of course, you could have the argument that they should have been making that effort to spend time with them anyway. So if they didn't and they lost them, then it is on them. Now, 644, you lost 2 family members because they decided to keep secrets. How did that make you feel? Because me hearing information like this, I am bombarded with mixed emotion. Whether to feel that I, as the relative, would have been, I was robbed of precious time. So there's that. Now, is that a fair statement to make? Is that a fair feeling to have? Well, again, balance. Recognize your emotions and balance. I won't get too much into it, but some of the other coping mechanisms for coping with cancer include reaching out. You know, those patients who have at least a few loved ones available for close emotional support and who can call upon their support or practical help show a better psychological adjustment to cancer than those who are largely alone or tend to go it alone in coping with their illness. And this is what we're talking about. Reaching out for support often means expressing your feelings and concerns to others, which can be a challenge for many patients. Now, if they weren't given the tools with how to express themselves positively before, when in a situation like this, chances are they won't know how to do so. Another mechanism is to adopt a participatory stance. You know, do you take the initiative and actively participate in your treatment? Some patients tackle their cancer head on. They have a strong fighting spirit and they find ways of putting it into action. They go out of their way to learn about their illness and the options for treatment. They pursue the best treatments available and also consider alternative or holistic approaches. They are taking on a participatory stance. They recognize that there's a lot that they can also do. It's not just whatever it is that science or medical or medicine says. They go ahead and they ask questions and they do research for themselves. Then there's finding a positive meaning. And while diagnoses and treatments of cancer is an awful experience in many respects, it also can be a challenge and even an opportunity for positive change. In response to their illness, many patients step back and take stock of who they are and how they have been living. They reflect on their values and priorities and often identify changes that are warranted. This is often called the enlightenment or gift that comes with cancer, or what others typically call the wake-up call. And some of us need that wake-up call, whether it is that we are experiencing where we have been diagnosed with cancer, or we know someone who has. It's that wake-up call, that awareness that I can see clearly now because I'm not shrouded in this hypothetical life. This idea of how things should be versus how things actually are, and what I need to do to as my role in taking control of my life. Then there's a spirituality, the faith and prayer aspect, that coping mechanism, because most people in our society have some fundamental spiritual belief. And these beliefs can be called upon for help in dealing with cancer. Patients who do so benefit in various ways. They have a greater sense of peace and inner strength and ability to cope and show improved psychological adjustment and quality of life. They say belief kills and belief cures. Belief also comforts. And that is where that spiritual aspect comes into play. And then there's maintaining self-esteem. And there are many ways that the experience of cancer can harm a person's self-esteem. And one of these is the stigma of having cancer. The belief that it can imply something bad about the person who has it. Listen, there was nothing bad about my mother. Everybody loved my mother. When my mother passed away, people flew in from all over the world. It had to be... I went to one of the largest churches in the Salvation Army in Jamaica. And her memorial service could not have been held in that church building. It had to have been held in an auditorium because of the number of people that my mother reached, my mother touched, and the kind of love that was there. So, and she reached out to people even during her time when she had cancer. Here's a comment in the stew pot. The daughter was 28 when she died. And I think the daughter's life could have been prolonged if she was given the information. She may have taken the initiative to get herself checked sooner. I'm saddened because the mother said that she didn't want her children to worry. I felt her silence contributed to her daughter's demise. And that is one of the risks that we would take in this secrecy. Now, I can understand not wanting to particularly broadcast all over the place what is ailing you. But your immediate family members should know. Here it is, a mother and daughter. And the mother didn't talk up, and neither did the daughter. They died 6 months apart from each other. Different types of cancers, yes, but cancer nonetheless. So that self-esteem, I guess, may have taken, may have played a role in that. I guess we'll never know. The last thing when it comes to coping with cancer is coming to terms with mortality. And it may seem that it is a major challenge when dealing with cancer is to fight against the possibility of death. Certainly, the philosophy and technology of modern medicine are preoccupied with the fight for life. The practitioners of alternative therapies also stress their healing potential. From all quarters, cancer patients hear that they must maintain hope, keep a positive attitude, and try not to give up. It seems that everything revolves around getting better, and yet many patients die of cancer. And even those who do not are living with the possibility that they might. Here is what is considered the harsh reality. Death is inevitable. We are going to die. Some sooner than later. And the sooner we come to terms with that, in my opinion, is the sooner we're able to live. Because you only die once. You know, people make the statement, you only live once. Well, in reality, you only die once. Because you live every day. And when we start to look at things that way, I believe it can change. It can have a ripple effect on how we live our lives. But one thing is for sure. Cancer or no cancer, we should fight for life.
In the quiet morn, when all is still, and you can't ignore the voice within, just trust yourself to find in you strength of angels, the angel that's you.
The track is called Fight for Life. She goes by the name Tina Simone. So the comment in the stew pot is, there are two inescapable realities, changes and death. Will you accept either or both? That's a deep question right there.
because your hearts are so. Believe in yourself through pain and strife. Fight for your
I want to thank GMAC Music Solutions for sponsoring this segment of the broadcast. GMAC Music Solutions provides sound, light, and stage production services, musical equipment, PA systems, audio engineers, DJs, bands, musicians, singers. Give them a call, 754-307-GMAC, that's 754-307-4622, or check them out at gmacmusicsolutions.com.
Youngblood Records.
Rise this morning, give thanks. This life's not guaranteed at all. At all. A lot of people never wake up this morning, never live to see today. Oh,
this is the son of Phil Watkins.
He judge a warning, never live to see today.
It's called Today.
Boy, let's see a lot of families falling, never live to see today. A lot of innocent people falling, that live to see today. So if you live to see another day, I tell you don't forget to pray. Jah bless you with His mercy. Another chance to right the wrongs from the choices that you've made. Love will guide you upon your journey. Life is much better when you know what it's worth. Let every step count, let every move work. Here today, tomorrow, say your day and a leader. So set your mind and good living. With that you feel flirt. Waste your days seeking vanity. Flesh thing now go work. Walk fast from dirty liberty road that you no feeler. It best to wear a smile than to wear a dirty smirk. Remember we put Jaja first. A lot of people never wake up this morning, never live to see today. Oh, the ones who never heed Jaja warning, never live to see today. Boy, let's see a lot of families falling, never live to see today. A lot of innocent people falling, not live to see today. Give thanks and praise, we still fortunate. Work a breeze, spread the message, cause we still have blow breath. Life, no promise on the road where we check, but Jaja never failed me yet. Rise up in the morning, giving thanks. With life, I have a special romance. Me and good health, a slow dance. Thank you, Jah, for giving me a next chance. You see the sun, you feel the breeze, you feel the pouring. Not take life for granted. You live another day of a million no morning. As Jah has come, a lot of people never wake up this morning, never live to see today. Oh, the ones who never heed Jaja warning, never live to see today. Boy, let's see a lot of families falling, never live to see today. A lot of innocent people falling, not live to see today. A lot of people never wake up this
Son of Phil Watkins.
Never live to
track called Today. As we roll through in our musical therapy, closing out this night shift week. Stick around for Shine It and DJ Papa Lot. Immediately following me on Reggae Global Radio. This is new music from Novelty. It's called Keep It Moving.
When the enemy comes like a flood, give praise to the Most High and keep it moving. Keep it moving. Yes, when they come with the negative vibe, hold your head high, smile, smile, keep it moving. Keep it moving. Left, right, They say you'll never succeed, but look the naysayers in the eye, just smile and keep it moving. Keep it moving. When the Father says yes, nobody can say no. So keep it moving with a positive flow. Left, right, 1, 2. Left, right, 3, 4. Keep it moving. Keep it moving. Oh, left, right, 1, 2. Left, right, 3, 4. Keep it moving with a positive flow.
Sweet trumpet of Howard Perry.
Give praise to the Most High God and keep it moving. Keep it moving. When they come with the negative vibe, hold your head high and smile and keep it moving. Keep it moving. Let's go. Left, right, 1, 2. Left, right, 3, 4. Keep it moving. Keep it moving. Left, right, 1, 2. Left, right, 3, 4. Keep it moving.
It's as simple as putting one foot in front of the other.
Positive flow.
Sometimes, even as simple as it sounds, it's not that simple.
Right. Keep it moving.
But we should do our best to keep it moving.
Live today for tomorrow.
This is Maurice Gregory.
Never dwell too much on your sorrow. Life is
The
a
track is called Life.
to us, it's not borrowed. Live in love and good days will follow. Believe me, I know how you're feeling. It's like the good days are gone, it never comes. That is the meaning of life. Love is the secret to life. That is the only way we can survive. You live one more day, you can fight. Your heart breaks when comes disappointment, and you're shadowed by the fear, then comes the haunting. But there's more to life than just the bad things. There's so much good in us, now let your stars start shining. But believe me, I know how you're feeling. It's like the good days are gone, it never comes. That is the meaning of life. Love is the secret to life. That is the only way we can survive. You live one more day, you can fight. The meaning of life.
Sunday morning, breakfast was on the table.
This is Ed Robinson.
Time to eat.
His rendition of Sadie.
Said to me, boy, hurry to Sunday school.
As we close out this night shift week.
With her load of glory.
Right here, kevinstew.com, Reggae Global Radio.
We learned holy stories. She always had her dreams, despite the things this troubled world can bring. Oh, Sadie, don't you know we love you, sweet Sadie? Place no one above you, sweet Sadie. Living in the past, sometimes it seems so funny, but no money will turn your life around. Sweeter than cotton candy, stronger than Papa's old brandy. Always that needed smile. Once in a while, she would break down and cry. Sometimes she'd be so happy being with us and Daddy, standing the worst of times, breaking the bonds with just one simple song. Don't you know we love you, sweet Sadie? There's no one above you, no, 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 no. Living in the past, sometimes it seems so fun.
I knew that would wake you up, Tatiana.
Turn your life around. Sadie, babe, don't you know we love you, sweet Sadie? There's no one above.
I want to thank you each and everyone for tuning in, for locking in, for sticking around. Do remember this coming Saturday, if you're in Broad County, Miami, Palm Beach even, and you can make it to the Hugh Birch Park, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. There'll be the Pink Car Parade, joint venture making strides against breast cancer, American Cancer Society. Raising awareness. And then in the evening, the virtual concert. Check social media, check my social media, you will see the flyer there for the event.
I'm living in the past, but nobody, no, no.
Our very own SDS will be one of the performers on that virtual concert, and you very well may hear them perform this song live. As I bounce on out of here, I encourage you to look out for members of your community. And your community is not just the development that you live in, but it spreads far and wide. Those that you pass on the bus, on the plane, on the boat, on the train, whether you walk, ride, or drive, these are members of your community. So look out for one of them today, because you never know which one of them is going to look out for you tomorrow.
Of the terror that crawleth by night, know the arrow by day.
This is SDS, Sensational Dynamic Sound, with members Sean Adazzle, Dottie and Suzanne Sultry. Their hit track, Jah Is By My Side.
How can I fear when the people them say my Jah is stronger in every way? Make the news people chat, me no response to that. I know that everything will be okay.
Look how many storms you've already been through.
Not one of them
ever conquered you.
Some battles you fight on your knees, then you cut and go through. Cut and true. 'Cause Jah is by my side. Yeah, I won't be afraid, no, of the terror that crawleth by night, nor the arrow by day. 'Cause Jah is by my side. 'Cause Jah is by my side. I won't be afraid, no, of the terror that crawleth by night, nor the arrow by day. With Jah by my side, we're gonna be alright. We're gonna be alright. Alright.
Do remember,
We're gonna be alright. We're gonna be
7 to 9, well, maybe extended this Saturday. I'll be on Reggae Global Radio. Yeah, you get stew for supper.
again.
Can't let the world bring us to our knees with fear and uncertainty.
All being well, I'll be bringing you excerpts from the concert, the virtual concert.
Come, we will survive. No kind of obstacles, no kind
Do look out for that.
We are gonna be alright. 'Cause Jah is by my side. Jah is by my side. I won't be afraid. I won't be afraid of the terror that crawleth by night, nor the arrow by day. Yeah, with Jah by my side. Jah is by my side. I won't be afraid. I won't be afraid of the terror that crawleth by night, nor the arrow by day. Morning rise and open eye. Our time.
See if I can squeeze in a piece of this one. This is Christina Alicia. Jah is for us. My name is DJ Kevin Stew. This is how I like to do it to you, for you, and with you every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday right here on the night shift to DJ Kevin Stew.
Never twice. Now
KevinStew.com, Reggae Global Radio, One Harmony Radio, WGLRO, ClintonLindsay.com, PEMGTV.com. So glad to have you, each and every one. Thank you for your support. I couldn't do it without you. I won't even try to. Catch you Saturday on Reggae Global Radio. Blessings, y'all take care. Good morning, good afternoon, good day to you, wherever you are in the world. From right here in South Florida, I bid you a good night. Catch Shine Head coming up next to DJ Papa Load on Reggae Global Radio. Blessings to you.
From your birth, revelation cannot hide, and the truth can never die. Jah children now arise. We stand up for our rights. Jah is for us. Who can be against us? If Jah is for us, the wicked can never.
I love that 66644. We cry in our strength, not in our weakness.
Who can be against us? If Jah is for us, the wicked can never ever prosper.
Greetings and salutations, one and all. You're invited to tune in to the night shift with DJ Kevin Stew. It airs on Mondays with Community and Finance, Tuesdays with Healthy Love, and Wednesdays with Real Talk from 10 p.m. to midnight Eastern Time. Come spend some time interacting in the stew pot where we keep things bubbling and wind down in musical therapy. Night Shift with DJ Kevin Stew is on KevinStew.com, where you're encouraged to have acceptance through enlightenment.